What's up guys, my name is Konner and welcome to the Songwriter Sanctuary. Today we're going to be talking about the Queen. With a reign of over 70 years, her influence was... What's that? Okay, so apparently we're going to be talking about Queen, the British rock band, and I've also been told to cut back on the terrible jokes. So yeah, Queen is a British rock band, and if you don't know who they are, then you've been living under a rock band. What? We'll try again. Queen, in their glory days, was comprised of musical geniuses Freddie Mercury, Brian May, Roger Taylor, and John Deacon. You'll know them for such hit songs as Bohemian Rhapsody, We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions, Killer Queen, Another One Bites the Dust, Somebody to Love, the list goes on and on and on. The song we're going to be talking about today, though, is none of those. It's actually a lesser-known song from their catalog, and I think their most underrated song, period. Before we get into it, if this is your first time here and you like this video, then please actually like this video and subscribe to this channel. Your support goes a tremendously long way. Without further ado, let's talk about it. So the song we'll be talking about today is called 39. Queen released it on their 1976 hit album, A Night at the Opera. 39 was their 39th song. I'm not even making that up. It's not a joke. So quick disclaimer, as much as I'm a huge Freddie fan, this video is going to be all about Brian May's genius. He's the one who wrote this song, sang the lead vocals, and did most of the arranging and instrumentation. On top of singing lead vocals and some of the supporting vocals, he played multiple 12-string guitars, a lead electric guitar, and some other various guitar work. And then you also have Freddie and Roger Taylor contributing to the background vocals as well. John Deacon actually played an upright bass or a double bass on this song instead of an electric bass, and Taylor handled the drums and percussion. This song is a deviation from Queen's typical theatrical flamboyance. It's a hauntingly beautiful futuristic folk song with unique instrumentation and a brilliant lyrical twist. So lyrically, this song was actually born of Brian May's interest in astrophysics. Believe it or not, he was in the process of working towards a PhD in astrophysics before he had to put that on pause to go tour the world with Queen. Some people just have hard lives. As a brief aside, he's actually completed his PhD since then. He successfully defended his thesis in August of 2007, just after his 60th birthday. Brilliant, brilliant man. But the lyrics of this song are clearly influenced by his interest in astrophysics. The entire thing hinges on Einstein's theory of relativity. So the song is sort of a sci-fi story about spaceflight and time travel. And beyond that, it's a story about love, loss, and some really deep facets of the human condition. The song is told from the point of view of an astronaut who is one of 20 that are going to be sent off into space on an exploratory mission. This is all taking place in the year 39. We don't know if this is 1939, 2039, 2139. We don't know. But it's the year of 39 assembled here the volunteers. So the entire first verse is about the crew departing Earth and their excitement and courage as they sail off into the cosmos and brave a new frontier. You have lyrics to set the scene, such as, "The score brave souls inside, for many a lonely day sailed across the milky sea, never looked back, never feared, never cried."
Never looked back, never feared, never cried.
In the second verse, they discover a new planet and they're excited to come back to Earth and share the news upon their return. But due to the time-warping properties of near light speed travel, when they return at the end of their year-long voyage, they find that roughly 100 years have passed on Earth. And as you can imagine, their excitement is immediately dashed and they are devastated. We have lyrics like, "And they bring good news of a world so newly born, though their hearts so heavily weighed, for the earth is cold and gray." This is reinforced by the line, "For so many years have gone, though I'm older but a year." In the story, the narrator or the protagonist is expecting to find his wife greeting him upon his return home, but due to the time that's passed, his wife is long gone and instead he finds his elderly daughter. And you have the haunting line, "Your mother's eyes from your eyes cry to me."
Mother's eyes from your eyes cry to me.
Even after doing all the research and hearing the song 1,000 times, I still get goosebumps when I think about that line. So the chorus is fascinating. It's directed at the protagonist's wife, and the protagonist is imploring her to feel his love through the ether of space, which you get in lines such as, "Don't you hear my call, though you're many years away, don't you hear me calling you?"
Don't you hear my call, though you're many years away.
This is interesting because it's actually like the narrator is, ironically, stepping out of time to deliver the lyrics of this chorus. He sings to his wife as though he already knows that upon his return the time will have passed, even though we know that he won't know that until he gets back. He speaks the line, "Write your letters in the sand for the day I take your hand."
Write your letters in the sand for the day I take your hand.
And his perspective in the chorus makes this extra sad. Writing the letters in the sand is futile on two fronts. Number one, you write something in sand, it's super fleeting and ephemeral. The wind will blow it away almost immediately. And that image is a metaphor for the fact that no matter what she wants to write to him or say to him, it won't matter because she will be gone by the time he returns. But the real sadness for me is in the line, "For the day I take your hand." Once again, we know that at this point the protagonist knows that he won't see his wife again. But he's communicating that line as if to continue to give her hope, to urge her to keep believing that he will return even though he knows that he won't. Just beyond tragic. The outro chorus is extra tragic. The song ends on a very sad note, and those lines are self-explanatory. "All your letters in the sand cannot heal me like your hand. For my life still ahead, pity me."
For my life still ahead, pity me.
So it's a sci-fi story about lost love, about aging, and about feeling like an outdated outsider in your own home. Brian May in interviews has spoken extensively about how the song's lyrics were inspired by his own journey with Queen. He left his home to go tour the world and discover new frontiers with his bandmates, but when he returns, everything has changed and he feels like an outsider stuck in time.
Because I felt a little bit like that about my home at the time as well, having been away and seen this very vastly different world of rock music, totally different from the way I was brought up.
It's just, what a beautiful, brilliant way of conveying that emotion. So let's talk about what happens in the song musically. This song is in the key of A flat, but you wouldn't know that from listening to the intro. Both in the intro and an interlude after the first chorus, we have these meandering chords that jump from key to key, sort of in the progressive rock vein of bands like Kansas, Styx, Rush, etc. The intro is a wild ride. We start with a 1, then a 6, then a major 3 chord in the key of D flat. And then without warning, we jump from an F chord to a B chord. Super weird, we just jump a tritone to a new major chord, and then we're in the key of B. Very quickly in the key of B, we have a 1, 4, 1, 2, 5 chord progression, which then resolves to the major 6, G sharp, or A flat, the tonic of the key of the actual song. All of this is just so sporadic and insane and doesn't seem like it should work, but it feels so natural and it flows so smoothly, and you land in A flat without knowing anything has happened. From there it goes into a second intro, which is very just straightforward folk. The chords are basically what you'd expect. I'll list them here, but I'm not going to dissect them too thoroughly. You get to the first verse and the chord progression here is also very simple. It's exactly what you'd expect from a folk song. It looks like this. But we have something interesting when we get to the second verse. You'd think it would just copy the chords of the first verse, but no, we go in a slightly different direction here. We still start with the 5 chord, but we expand to a sharp 5 diminished chord, which acts as a 3 dominant to take us to the 6. And if you don't believe it's a diminished chord, listen to that bass line.
The storytellers say that this
E, G, A sharp, C sharp. All of the notes in an E diminished chord. We go back to the land of the diatonics after that, completing the verse with basically just standard chords in the key. You get to the chorus, and the first half, though beautiful, is also very straightforward. But if you follow this channel, you know that I like talking about walk downs with the chord progression. I love it when the bass line steps down and the chords are used as a way of propelling the bass line down instead of the bass line dictating the chords. And that's exactly what happens here.
letters in the sand, for the day I take your hand.
The bass line goes 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And the chords you have over the top are you've got 1, you've got 5 over 7, 6, 1 over 5, 4, 1 over 3, 2. The cool thing here is the vocal line actually follows this as well. This is something that could easily be too on the nose or a little gimmicky, but it works in this circumstance. And then you get to the beautiful, weird time travel-y line, "The land that our grandchildren knew." And it feels like the spaceship is just descending down that walk down and landing on that line.
The land that our grandchildren knew.
After the first chorus, you have an interlude, which is a lot like the intro, but with a couple other weird things added, as if the intro wasn't already weird enough. Chorus ends, we jump immediately and abruptly into the key of E, where you have a 1 chord and then a 6 chord. We then jump to the key of B flat, where it just sits on the B flat chord for a bit. Following that, it repeats the chord progression of the original intro. There's also a melodic theme that ties the intro, this weird interlude, and all those crazy chord changes together. That theme manifests in two forms. The first is 3, sharp 2, 3, sharp 4, 3. And the second is 5, sharp 4, 5, 6, 5. Both of these ideas are basically the same idea. They actually harmonize with each other. And the prevalence of the sharp 4 gives it a very Lydian feel, which makes it feel a little space-agey and futuristic despite the old-timey feel of the instrumentation. Speaking of the instrumentation, we've already talked a little bit about it, but the song is primarily built upon two elements. Number one, we're just gonna lump all of Brian May's guitar work together and call that one element. And number two is John Deacon's upright bass. So for the guitar, mostly you have a couple 12-string guitars mixed together, and then at certain points in the song, Brian May also features his signature electric guitar solo sound. Because you can't have a Queen song without it, apparently. Seriously, name a more iconic electric guitar tone. I dare you. The double bass is keeping the groove by just hitting on the 1 and the 3, and it's reinforced by a kick drum following the same rhythm. In between, on the 2 and the 4, we have tambourine hits. So instead of kick, snare, we've got kick, tambourine, kick, tambourine. It makes you think a little bit of jug band folk music from the early 1900s, which was actually a precursor to modern blues. Outside of Brian May's lead vocals, which are fantastic, Brian May's actually a really good singer, we also have the lush harmonies in the intro and the interlude, and other harmonies speckled throughout the song. In particular, in the intro and the interlude, the sort of expansive, open nature of these harmonies, plus the sharp 4 that we already discussed, contributes to that futuristic feel. It makes it feel as though it actually makes sense for the song to be about space and time travel, even though the rest of the instrumentation points to an aged sound. And maybe this is me reading too much into it, but I love the juxtaposition of a narrator who finds himself an old relic of the past, and a soundscape for that narrator that sounds like a relic of the past. At the time Queen wrote and published this song, you could argue that the sound that they used was intentionally outdated. And that's pretty much it. If I missed anything about the song that you think is important, let me know in the comments down below. And also drop me a line and let me know what song or band I should break down next. That's all she wrote. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.